I mean, if you're just going to leave. You had 5 people nominated for Gold Gloves today. I know Ty France hasn't played a ton of first for you, but obviously the work he did to have these and 6 Gold Gloves, right? To Ernie nominated for 2. We know this team's been built on defense for the last 3 years, but how does that feel?
It's a lot of hard work from a lot of different people. You know, it's pretty cool. I think, we do a good job of trying to pride ourselves in playing, sound defense, and guys have gotten better since they've been here too, which is nice for us to say. But it's also a whole lot of work from them, from the coaching staff, and I think it's really nice they get recognized for it.
A bit further to your right, David.
Hey, John, you've had Shane for a few months now. What have you learned about him over that span of time that you didn't already know?
Just kind of how steady he is, kind of how much he's just kind of one of the boys. He really fits into the clubhouse really well, and you never really know when you're acquiring somebody, what that kind of dynamic is going to look like. I think we've done a really good job with the acquisitions this year as a whole. But I think just kind of watching him prepare, and watching him evolve, watching him, he's got a really high sense of awareness about what he's doing, trying to do, what he has done, and adjustments he needs to make. So I think that's the biggest thing.
And one more about Shane. What are you going to be looking for from him early in the game today?
Just executing, whether it's any one of his pitches, really, just executing. When he's doing that, he's really good. And especially breaking balls, I think, to this team, looking to kind of see where those are in the zone, what kind of swings they're taking off of those. He's at his best when he's got all of his pitches, where he wants to put them. So that's kind of it, not the moment or anything like that. We trust him out there in this situation, but kind of just what his stuff is doing.
Standing on your left, John.
Hey, John, in the past, we've seen a lot of Canadians come down to this ballpark to watch you guys play. I'm not sure how many are going to be here today, but there's lots of Blue Jay jerseys out there. What difference does that make as a player in the field when you're on the road and you have that kind of support?
Yeah, it makes you a little more comfortable. I think that playoffs are obviously different than regular season with ticket availability here, I think. But we travel well. We feel the support at a lot of places we go to. And here is probably the spot that everyone circles because of the proximity to BC and, the fans that do come here. So it helps for sure. I think that when you get into some pretty loud, hostile environments, regular season or postseason here, we're expecting it to be loud. So I think to have, a good little chunk of Blue Jay fans would be good for the guys.
Go back to Mike.
Further to that, you said a few days ago that you hope the BC fans are more Jays than the Mariners. But do you go back to when you managed in Vancouver, and what was that like there as far as Mariners' presence up there in Vancouver and the people coming down here for these games?
It was more, at that time for me, it was more so feeling the connection between minor league club and parent club, if that makes sense, and how much I think the people in Vancouver could resonate with that, being the only Canadian minor league team and big league team. So honestly didn't think about if there were many Mariner fans there at the time, but I think just kind of feeling the connection between the big league club and that club is what I always remember about that place. It just seemed like everyone was a Blue Jay fan there that was affiliated with that stadium and that environment.
Good. Gregor in the third row.
John, we're talking to Max here in a little bit. He's obviously had a little bit of a break since the end of the regular season to work on some things. How do you think that has kind of benefited him in trying to get him back to where you guys need him to be?
I think it was good for him. He kept himself ready to, throw, obviously, with number of pitches. But I think he, probably more so than even he was leading on to you or anyone, he needed a little bit of a break to feel good physically. So in talking to him over the past couple of weeks, I think you feel comfortable and confident about where he is and hopefully how he can, finish some pitches a little bit better than he was, a couple of weeks ago. So it's easy to trust a guy who has been through what he's been through and done what he's done. So one of the many great things about Max is he does not pull any punches. He'll tell you exactly how he's feeling. So may not be always what I say to you guys, for certain reasons, but I think that the rest kind of was a good thing for him.
Standing on your left, Jordan.
Hey, John.
Hey.
What have you seen from Madison Barger recently, and kind of what do you assess of his season, having that really hot few months in the middle and kind of tailing off, but still having some big hits recently? What have you seen from Barger?
Yeah, just kind of, normal first full year in the big leagues, and we've asked a lot of him. He's been a huge part of what we've done and why we're here. So I know he's played well in this ballpark early in the year, and, I think he'll have some friends and family here too, but I've seen a guy evolve. I've seen a guy, grow into a big leaguer, and not just rely on his physical skills, So it's October 15th. Everyone's grinding. He's probably grinding too. But man, I just can't speak highly enough of what he did when we needed him to do it. When we were kind of short and guys were hurt, he kind of stepped in and filled that void of power, athleticism, everything. So. You never know when it's going to click, and Addy, like a lot of our guys, I think is kind of one swing away because he's that physically talented.
Stand over there with Shy.
John, just further to the flip with Tony and Addy in the lineup, how much are you considering, one, just trying to get a different presence behind Vlad, and also perhaps trying to take some heat off Barger by dropping him down the lineup?
Yeah, definitely both. When you're thinking through it and thinking through who has seen Kirby and what they've done and things like that, it depends and it changes. I like Tony's at bats. You're trying to gauge what he's like timing wise and things like that, and you kind of pair that up with what you're seeing with everyone else. So they're both obviously huge parts of our lineup. So I think just switching it up a little bit and definitely giving Natty a little bit of a blow, but not trying to change what he does and what he does for our lineup.
Yes, we'll get you the mic.
John, where the series is at right now, can you just talk a little bit about maybe a new approach or a different approach or a fresh approach that you take going into Game 3 against the Mariner offense?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, both for our offense and their offense. We got to limit damage for one, and they've scored a lot of their runs this postseason via the home run. So we got to make pitches and be pretty stubborn in certain situations with where you're, throwing the ball. So whether starter or reliever, really. So I look at it kind of as a mirror image, of it. I think they've done a good job of pitching to weak contact, knowing that we don't strike out a lot. And I think we just have to be real deliberate with the guys that can leave the yard. That's kind of what's come back and hurt us.
Anything else for Schneids? Hazel.
John, have you had any conversations as a group, as a team, from the final out of Game 2 till maybe today? And is there a need to ever have these kind of group conversations during the postseason?
We'll see. We have conversations all the time, not sit down, everybody listen to me type thing. But we've had some handful of guys at a time discussions, and this is the time where you lean on your veterans too, So we did that yesterday a little bit. I'm always talking to guys. We'll see where the game goes. We'll see what kind of journey we go on today in Game 3. You never really know where it's going to go. So this group is so good at just go out and playing. Again, so it hasn't been a sit down. Hey, you guys need to do this. They're all pretty well aware of it.
So was it just the veterans you spoke with, or did the veterans speak?
No, they haven't. I know they talk amongst one another quite a bit. And this is just more casual conversations with everyone, really, sitting here on the off day and, just kind of taking the pulse of everyone like we normally do.
Hey, Chris, when you look at how your team got here this year, what is it that gives you the most optimism about these games coming up here?
The roster, just the guys on our team. Very, very talented bunch of old guys for the most part that been there, done that. So, it's just the roster.
What about tonight's starter, Shane Bieber? What have you learned about him as a teammate, and what do you think about that going into tonight with this moment for him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Shane, Cy Young guy, a guy with his caliber, you always wonder kind of how he got there, and then you get him in the room and you realize how smart he is. And then you put him around a veteran group that loves to talk pitching, loves to talk baseball, then all of a sudden it's like this is kind of the perfect match. So, we're very, very confident in him. He can execute probably better than any one of us, so we're very excited for that.
Go to Mike in the second row on your right, Chris.
Hey, Chris, with Bieber, tonight is the reason that you guys traded for him, right? For games like this. How does he keep that pressure in the back of his head and go out and execute the way he has to win?
Yeah, I would just say it's confidence in our team. Haven't really been down 2-0 in the playoffs and been excited about it. But pretty excited about just the opportunity that we have just to see what we're made of, honestly. And it's more so, it's way more so just based on, again, the guys that we have in our clubhouse, what we've built throughout the year, understanding our game, understanding roles, things like that. So it's not so much like we need more out of him. It's just we need to go out there and play our game.
When you say you're excited to see what this team is made of, given that there's already been 169 games to see, what are you looking forward to? What is it that excites you about being in the position that you're in?
Yeah, just I would say the biggest thing is just like how much confidence do we really have in ourselves. A lot of the times you get down what we obviously are, you want to do more, you want to completely change who you are or try to do too much, but I think we have built ourselves, built our team from day one, even in the off season, of just taking pride of all the small things, taking pride of base running, pitching, all the little situations, obviously outfield, infield defense, game preparation, things like that. So the first two games, I just don't think we played that well in many different facets. So now it's just more so just can we get back to just our game and just play our game.
Standing on your left, Chris, Jordan.
Chris, you mentioned having a lot of guys on the roster that have been through a lot of these battles and the ups and downs. How have you seen the younger guys kind of respond to the ups and downs of this postseason? And how has your experience been? What was it like earlier in your career, and how did you kind of deal with that early on compared to how you handle it now?
Yeah, I would say it's not really a fair assessment for me talking about my career, because the times when I was coming up, it was in Oakland, and we had a bunch of really, really talented guys that were really young. None of us have been there before. I'm not saying we didn't have veteran presences there, but it was more so just veteran guys in and out, and not established guys that have been there, done that, that have been there multiple years. So it was a lot of the younger guys, Chappie and Olsen and Simeon and them, trying to lead a ship at very young age. So it's very different from my upbringing. But yeah, for this clubhouse, it's obviously you added Scherzer, but it's like you look at Gauzy, you look at Berrios. Vladdy is obviously younger age-wise, but I think he's very mature for his age. Bo, same way. Then you add Shane, another big piece for us. And then Santander and Andres and things like that. It's just we're not really shook by being down 2-0. It sucks, but again, we just have confidence in what we've built.
On your right, Chris, David.
Hey, Chris, on the topic of veterans, Schneider was just in here talking about how the veterans in the locker room have been having conversations amongst each other, as you have all season. I'm just wondering if you can take us into some of the specifics of any of those conversations.
I would say you'd have to be more elaborate more about that in the aspect of like game plan or what.
So where you guys are right now.
Nothing has really changed from how we approach the game. It's not really talking about being down 2-0. It's just about today. And yesterday it was all about today. And it was not about the game before or things like that, just because, again, I don't think we played that well. So now it's just more so just how can we get back to being ourselves and worrying about that. Other than that, it's not really a big deal. Other than, it's not like we're trying to completely change the dynamic of our game, and it's not like we've went out there and played our game and lost. So it's more so just we still have a lot of confidence in our game and how we play and what we do.
We'll stay over there.
Chris, you've spent a lot of time at this ballpark, being in division with them previously. What is it like to pitch here, both in terms of the environment and large outfield and somewhat unique dimensions?
Yeah, beautiful ballpark. Fan base is pretty much as hungry as Toronto's fan base. We have a lot of respect for Seattle, not just their team, but obviously the way they run things, the way that they play the game. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be like Toronto, how it's pretty loud, pretty crazy. The team wants to win, not just for themselves, but for the fans that have been asking for this for a long, long time. So I would say it's just going to be embrace the moment and have fun with it.
Middle of the third row, Chris Gregor.
Chris, after the back caused you some issues in September, how are you feeling physically now? And also, how's the transition for the bullpen gone for you, kind of having to do it, in the playoffs like this?
Yeah, good. I feel really, really good right now. A lot better than I was. It was just an unfortunate thing where it took a lot of bullets, so to speak, for the team throughout the last 2-3 years, and I just needed time off kind of at the wrong time. But the reality is I feel really, really good right now. And if you know my background at all, bullpen's not a foreign thing to me. I came up as a reliever. I love the chaos of a relieving. I love the fans talking crap to me. I love all that. So yeah, relieving is more so of like an adrenaline dump, and then it's just have fun with it. So yeah, and then that's that. Like physically, I'm able to throw a lot more than most. It's just, I know I joke with Schneider about it, but like I could throw every game for the playoffs. It don't matter.
Second row, you're right, Mike.
Chris, it feels like out of everyone on this team, Max Scherzer the best. We haven't seen him pitching in 3 weeks, and it was a rough finish to the season for him. What have you seen from him since he last pitched? What are you expecting out of him tomorrow?
Yeah, I expect Max to be Max in the aspect of just go out there and execute at a very, very high level. I think we were very similar. We were in very similar boats at the end of the year. I know my numbers at the end of the year were probably a little bit better than his for the last month, but we were both kind of dealing with the same stuff where we had to start games when we didn't feel good. We had things going on physically. We joke that we're both the grandpas in the group. So yeah, it was obviously I had to take some time off. Max took time off, and it was just to get both of us healthy. Like we had to put all of our trust in our teammates. Me and Max definitely weren't happy about not playing against New York, but at the end of the day, it was looking at this series here, knowing that we needed us. So yeah, it was just trusting the guys that we have in the room to get us to this series, and then, like I said, getting Max healthy, and I think Max is in a really, really good spot for that.
Hi, Max. When we've talked to Schneider the last week or so, he's mentioned a couple times how you're feeling better physically from some downtime. What does that actually feel like, and how do you see that benefiting you?
I don't want to put too much stock into this. I mean, look, you have hiccups all the time, ailments all the time, and I can't tell you how many times I've had something and gone out there and pitched well and won. So I don't want to sit here and go backwards and blame injuries for any way I pitched. When I take the mound, I take the mound, and I'm going to win. I have the attitude I'm going to win no matter what. And so, like I said, I'm not going to point the finger at anything ailment-wise of why I was pitching bad. I was pitching bad. But I have used this time to try to get fully healthy, get everything right, and get everything the way I can get my body fully healthy to go out there and pitch as well as I can. So, I've used the time as well as I can, through that sim game last week, and, in position to be able to go out there and make a good start tomorrow.
Other questions for Max? We'll go to Jordan on your left, Max.
Hey, Max, having gone through the highs and lows of so many postseason series in your career, how have you managed it just from watching it emotionally, not even just when you're pitching, and how does it compare now to earlier in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I guess early in your career, you get in these situations, you ride the roller coaster a little bit more. Now I still ride the roller coaster. I just realize, things can change on a dime. I mean, you can be as low as possible, and all of a sudden things can be as high as possible. And so, even though we all ride the roller coaster in some form or fashion, I'm just more even keel of just understanding. I've seen so much happen where teams are playing great, then teams are playing bad, then teams are playing great, and somebody could be struggling the whole series, and then all of a sudden they snap later in part of the series. So, I've seen that happen so many different times, and for me, being on this team, I just love our group. I love the way our clubhouse functions. I love the way our guys just play together and how we play team ball. So I know we're down a hole, 2-0. It's obvious, but I also know we can play great ball at any given time.
Third row on your right, Max. Ben.
Hey, Max. I'm sure there are guys in that room who look to you now as someone who's done this before and succeeded. When you were coming up, were there players that you looked to and kind of wanted to watch how they went about their business in a playoff setting?
Yeah, but it's always kind of individualized. There's until you're actually in postseason play and experience it, you have to know how to handle it yourself. I mean, you can only hear so much advice from somebody else. I mean, for me, early in my career, I thought I got bad advice. Somebody tried to tell me to stay calm. Yeah, I'm not going to stay calm. That's not good advice for me. And so, I've learned it throughout my career. No, you got to kind of match the moment. You got to know who you are. You know who you are when you go out there, and match that type of moment with your adrenaline. So that's how I go out there and pitch. That's how I handle it. And so, looking forward to get out there tomorrow and do that.
Second row on your right, Mike.
Max, Chris was just in here, and he told us that the team is not shook by being down 2-0, that obviously that it sucks, but you're not shaken up by it. And he said part of the reason for that was because you didn't play your game in the first 2 games and get beat that way. Do you see things the same way?
I mean, I get what he's saying. I don't need to expand upon what he said. We're a great team. I've seen it over and over throughout this year. The number of times we responded in so many different ways. We had so many comeback wins. We've played great ball. Yes, we lost 2 games. Yes, obviously these are must-win games. We all understand what's at stake. But being around this group and being on this team this whole season, to what he said, yeah, we're not shook because of it. We know what we're capable of. We know we can go out there and play with anybody in the league. And so we just got to go out there and take care of business on our end.
And as far as you being entrusted with the ball in what's a must-win game, whether it's 2-1 or 3-0, how does that feel to you that you're getting that situation?
Love it. This is what you play for. You want to have the ball in the situation. You want to be pitching in the postseason. Every game in the postseason is must win. So you step on the field. In these situations, you got to bring it. You got to have your A game. You really got to be on top of your stuff. And so they're going to be as prepared as heck to go against me and try to beat me. And I got to do the same and find a way to navigate it.
Second row on your left, Max.
Hey, Max. John had been really complimentary about how you and Chris stayed engaged and involved during the ALCS. Was that difficult? I mean, you must have been disappointed not to be on that, but to stay involved. How did you stay involved, and what did that feel like?
I mean, Bass and I are boys. I mean, we're kind of like brothers in a way, and obviously you want to be on the roster, you want to be pitching and contributing, but we're a team, and just because we weren't on the roster doesn't mean we're not going to be teammates. And we were in the clubhouse just talking to guys, just how to handle different situations, and kind of what to expect, what to think, and that how to process everything. And a lot of it could be working with stuff off the field as well. So making sure all the team stuff functions and works, and that's why we're in this position, because we are a great team, and it's all the individuals in here that have come together.
And we'll stay over there, Max, on the far end.
Max, you talked about the bad advice you got at the beginning of your career. What was the best advice you ever got?
Oh, best advice. I can't tell you. Yeah, otherwise, because I still got to use it.
Good. David, on your right in the third row.
Hey, Max, as you've gotten older, are you more appreciative of the chance to get a playoff start like tomorrow, knowing how rare and how finite these opportunities are?
Of course, but I mean, I've always appreciated every opportunity. I wouldn't say this is any more or less because you're playing to win the whole thing here. I mean, we're in the ALCS. I mean, these are huge starts, huge moments of your career, and have a chance to go out there tomorrow and get the ball again. This is what you dream of. This is what you play the game for, to be in the postseason, going up against the best teams in the league, and you got to go out there and beat them. I've had the opportunity in my career several times to do this, but it never gets old. Always looking forward to these moments, and they're so much fun.
Go to Mike in the second row.
And Max, not to get off track from the Game 4, but the Jays found out today they have 5 Gold Glove nominees on the team, and Ernie's been nominated for 2 Gold Gloves. Can you just speak to that a little bit and what it's been like pitching in front of this defense?
Yeah, well, who were the other ones that are nominated? Probably Varsho. Who else? Vlad and Kirky. And Ty France, yeah. I mean, it's been great. You go around a diamond, and the way everybody contributes out there, like I said, I keep going back to our team. It's a defense, it's a base running, it's a hitting, it's a pitching, it's the relievers, it's the starters. We all complement each other. We all go out there and play so well. So it's great to see those guys get the recognition that they deserve, being nominated for a Gold Glove, and what they're able to do defensively. And you talked about Ernie. He got 2 nominations. Yeah. He's really surprised me playing with him of how good he is defensively, his hands, his bat, everything he does to help the ball club win. So very deserving for him.
Standing on your right, Shai.
Max, you've talked about being relaxed is not a good approach for you, and being a high adrenaline pitcher. Is there a point where it's like you get too intense? Like, are there times where you've ever had to dial yourself down on the mound?
Oh, of course. I've learned that throughout the years. But it is harder to have that happen to you in the postseason, but you got to be cognizant of it. So, there can be too much of a good thing, but that's where it's the kind of balance of it, of knowing what works and what doesn't.